Hi everyone, welcome back my class, and this time is third time today's lesson. So this is the last time, so please attention this class. Okay, this time we are going to study about the 22 immutable law of marketing, especially the law 13 and 14. For law 13 is the law of sacrifice, and law 14 is the law of attributes. So first we will study the law of sacrifice the first, and the second we will learn about the law 14, the law of attribute. attribute. Okay, let's get started. The first law 13, the law of sacrifice. The law of sacrifices, the definition is the law of sacrifices states a company must give up something in order to gain something. The marketing is not about expanding everything, it's about strategic reduction and deductions. Many companies, uh, many companies trying to get more, get more something, but the important thing is the strategy deduction, because uh, if if they want to more result and more fruitful something, and they have to waste some things. The law of sacrifices states that you have to give up something in order to get something. This sentence is the key of the understanding the law of the sacrifice. So to be successful, companies must focus their efforts rather than trying to be everything to everyone. So narrowing down product line and target markets or constantly changing strategies. So if we want to succeed, the company and brand and products must focus their efforts rather than trying to be everything to everyone. It's not a good thing, but narrowing down a product line and narrowing down the target market and narrowing down the uh, narrowing down the strategy focus consumer is very more is more useful. Okay, let's move on to the key principle of the law of sacrifice. The key principle of the law of sacrifice is three things. The first is the sacrifice product line. Instead of offering a massive and diverse range of product, success often comes from focusing on one specific and high quality offering. Uh, for example, a FedEx focusing strictly on overnight delivery. They focus on only overnight delivery. So overnight delivery, many consumers think about the overnight delivery. They got to think the only FedEx, not DHL, and not any transfer companies. So sacrifice product line is very important. And third and second is the sacrifice target market. So trying to be everything to everyone leads to weak branding. So narrowing your focus to specific and well-defined audience leads to stronger brand perception and market share. So sacrifice the target market and narrowing down uh, uh, the consumer market. So a well-defined audience leads to, and well narrowing down the audience consumer leads to stronger brand perception. And third is sacrifice constant change, and avoiding constant shift in strategies is crucial. Instead of jumping on new trend and maintaining a constant position, help establish a lasting brand identity. So maintaining a consistent position is very important part in the law of sacrifice and and doing business successful. So the key principle of the law sacrifice is the first is sacrifice product line, and second is the sacrifice target market, and third is sacrifice constant changes. And lastly, the fourth part is the focus on single concept. The focus on a single concept is also very important because by limiting choices, company can bond on their way into the consumer's mind and creating a strong owned brand position rather than a diluted generic one. So focus on only single concept is a very powerful strategy in the uh, occupy the consumer mind. Okay, let's move on to the next page. The core principle of the law of sacrifice is three things. There are three things you must sacrifice. This uh, uh, this third this three things is uh, as we studied, this one is very similar. The first is the product line, narrow your offerings, and second is target market, and a focus on specific audience, and the third is constant change, maintain constancy instead of chasing the trend. Uh, Also, the chasing trend is also important, but maintaining consistency is more important than this. So, uh, many companies trying to follow the new trend and changing trend, but maintaining consistency is also more powerful than this. Please think about uh, large companies, especially Apple and Samsung and Hyundai Mobile, Hyundai uh, and Microsoft. The traditional large company focus on the maintain consistency. Okay, the why sacrifices work. The the consumers are overwhelmed. Consumers are provided so many informations in through the SNS, email, and internet, and the through the other channels. So they have too many choices and too many messages and too many brands. So they want to simplify. So they remember specialists, not generalists. So they want to remember only one specialist, not generalists. So we must remember this part. The consumers are overwhelmed, and consumers have too many choices and too many messages, too many brands, and too many ads. So please, we have to simplify the message to consumers. The next is the strategic meaning. The strategic meaning of the law of sacrifice is clarity and positioning strength and memory advantage and brand authority. So consumers remember specialists, not generalists. Please remember this sentence. Consumers remember specialists, not generalists. Okay, let's take a look at the case study, especially book and the next is a modern industry. And the first thing is book case study. In the book, there is example the McDonald's. McDonald's focus on hamburger and fries and fast service, but McDonald's uh, sacrifices a broad menu variety. So McDonald's focus on the burgers, fries, and fast service. So uh, they sacrifice the broad menu variety. So the result is clearly identity. So they get to have the global dominance in hamburger and fries, in especially fast service. So the law of sacrifice is applying into the McDonald's. And the second example is FedEx, Federal Express. FedEx focus on overnight delivery, so they have to sacrifice the all proposed shipping service initially. So FedEx have to focus on the overnight delivery, and they they get to position, they get to possess the overnight the word, and especially the transportation industries. So their result is on the overnight category. So overnight category, uh, they own the overnight category, and they expanded the other shipping service. And a third example is Emory Air Freight. Uh, this is a contrast case. Emory Air Freight tried to offer everything, so there is no clear positioning. So the Emory Air Freight lost competitive advantages, so they have to fail in the uh, air industry, in the airline industry. So uh, this is a contrast case. This is the uh, fail cases, not a successful cases. The Because Emory Air Freight try to offer everything to everyone. And the next is the modern case studies for the law of sacrifices. The first example is Apple. Uh, they focus on the limited product line, and strong focus on premium experience and premium line and premium experience to the Apple Store. So they have to sacrifice the low cost segment and excessive uh, customization. First, Apple focus on the limited product line. They have only a smartphone and iPad and Apple Watch. Uh, but compared with the Samsung has uh, a variety of product line, the smartphone and the TV, the wash machine, and uh, the other machines in home. So uh, Apple has a limited product line, and so Apple have to sacrifice the low cost segment and excessive customization. And second example of the law of sacrifice in modern cases is Innisfree. Innisfree is a Korean skincare brand, and Innisfree at the first focus on natural ingredient and judge origin. So they have to sacrifice is a clinical automatologically positioning. Uh, so they focus on the natural ingredient and Jeju Island origin. So they have to sacrifice the clinical pharmacology and the functional positioning, and they have sacrificed the luxury segment. Uh, but so many consumers and in Korea and in US and the other countries industry has a strong natural power brand. And next is Tesla. Tesla focus on uh, the Tesla focus on the electric and the high performance. So Tesla uh, had to sacrifice the internal combustion of vehicles and mass affordability. Uh, so they had high prices in initially, and uh, they have to manufacture a small quantity of the electronic vehicles. But uh, today the Tesla they have they have many numbers, a lot of cars in in the world, but initially they have to sacrifice the affordability. And last example is Grossier. Grossier is a U.S. skincare brand and makeup brand. They focus on the minimalist skincare and community, so they had to sacrifice the heavy products complexity and traditional retail audience. So they focus on the community and online channel and a minimalist skincare and a simple design. So the law of sacrifice is very important to succeed in their business. We have to sacrifice something, and then we have to, and then we will get something. So please remember, in this concept, uh, not only the business part and uh, only your uh, only your lifetime, especially the studying and planning the future. So please remember the law of sacrifice. And lastly, we are going to study the law 14, the law of attribute. The law of attribute states for every attribute there is an opposite and effective attribute, or you cannot own the same attributes as your competitors. So instead, we and you must find and own the opposite. For every attribute used by a market leader, there is an opposite and effective attribute that a competitor can use to succeed. So we have to focus on the uh, opposite side that the competitor don't have, competitor doesn't have. Instead of trying to be better than the leaders, this law emphasis finding a different attribute to own in the consumer's mind. So the definition of the law of the attribute is for every leading effective attribute. Uh, for example, fast on opposite effective attribute is if for example reliable can succeed. So we have to focus on the opposite sides, opposite thing and opposite effect that the competitor doesn't have. Instead of emulating a competitor, branding must differentiate by focusing on the different attribute, creating a unique opposing market position. The key principle of the law of attribute is five things. The first is the second opposite attribute. If a leader own an attribute, example classic, the best strategy is to adopt the opposite. The example is useful. This is applied to the Coke. Coca-Cola has a classic strengths but the Pepsi has useful strength. So trying to emulate the leader is a common mistake that rarely works. And second is the attributes are not equal. Not all attributes hold equal value to customers. Marketers should try to identify and own the most important attribute available that the leader does not already own. So attributes are not equal. And the third is that the power of differentiation, not improvement. So not improvement but a differentiation. The law argues that marketing is a battle of perceptions, not product superiority. Therefore, being different, owning a unique attribute is more powerful than being better. So we have to focus on the differentiation, not improvement. The next thing is exclusive ownership. A brand cannot own the same attribute as a competitor. If safety is taken, for example, Volvo, a competitor must look for another differentiator. The speed, it's not safety, it's speed or affordable. Uh, the competitor. A competitor must look for and focus on the other opposite attribute. And lastly, a dramatize the attributes. Once a unique opposite attribute is chosen, it must be aggressively promoted to make it valuable in the mind of the customers. So drama dramatize attribute is also very important thing to succeed in to succeed to succeed and to get the deposit attribute in in same industries. The core idea of the law of attribute is the marketing is about perception battle, not product battle. So if competitor owns fast, you can't own opposite side the safe. And if competitor owns the luxury, you can't own the affordable. And if the competitor owns the traditional, and you can own modern. So this is the reason this is a reason to important. Trying to copy a leader leads to weak positioning, confusion, and loss of identity. So differentiation requires contrast, not imitations. Okay, let's move on to the examples. Example of the law of attribute. The first example is Coca-Cola versus Pepsi. Uh, the Coca-Cola has original and classic, but Pepsi has a younger, a sweeter, and modern. So the Coca-Cola and Pepsi has deposit uh, deposit thing, Coca-Cola and Pepsi focus on the deposit opposite attribute, and IBM versus Apple. IBM focus on the corporate and serious, but Apple focus on the creative and user friendly and premium. And a third example is Burger King. Burger King and McDonald's. McDonald's consistency and family and fast service, but Burger King customization, have it your way. So McDonald's and Burger King has also a different part to focus on. A modern industry example is the Nike versus Lululemon. Uh, as you know, the Lululemon is a yoga wear. So Nike focus on performance and competition, and Lululemon focus on the wellness and lifestyle. So it is, it is also a differentiation. And imagine Amazon versus Etsy. The Amazon focus on the efficiency and skills, and the Etsy focus on the handmade and uniqueness. The Next example is Samsung versus Apple. Samsung and Apple uh, has a simplicity, but Samsung variety and customization. And the next example is Drunken Elephants versus the Ordinary. The Drunken Elephants and premium clean beauty and strength of design. The Ordinary has a clinical and affordable transparency. So Drunken Elephants and uh, the Ordinary has different uh, different strengths. Lastly, the common mistake in the law of attribute is the first mistake is the copying market leaders, and second mistake is owning multiple attributes. So please only one attributes. And mistake three is the weak communication. Even strong attributes fail without a repetition. So it is we have to focus on the repetition. Okay, this is summary. The law 13 and 14. The, uh, these two laws work together. The law of sacrifices focus by eliminating options, and law of attribute differentiate by choosing contrasts. So it can be combined strategies. The first is to narrow your focus, and second is identify competitor strengths. And third is the choose opposite attribute. And lastly, amplify the consistently. Okay, uh, this is the end of today's lesson, and we have learned about a lot of things, especially the law of the 22 immutable law of marketing, especially 15, 13 and 14, and the sales funnel and the definition of sales funnel, and uh, the stage in detail, and the dot-com secret, the book. So please remember what we have studied. Okay, thank you for your attending, and please see the next classes. Thank you for attending. Bye.